how to build community-driven, value-focused events that prioritize peer-to-peer connections. Of course, community marketing is such a great way to genuinely engage your audience, so I cannot wait to hear from this group. Thrilled to welcome to the stage our moderator, Hong Nuin of Shiloh Events, and our panelists, Denise Hibbard of Zapier, Ian Gomez of Writer.ai, and Jonathan Kazarian of Excel Events. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Hong Nuin. I am the CEO and founder of Shiloh Events. I'm so excited to be talking to you all about how we can drive community and create value and create peer-to-peer learning experiences with your events. I want to introduce my co-panelist and co-moderator, John Kazarian. Hi, John.
Hey, everybody.
Excellent. He's the CEO of Excel Events that produces or creates registration platform solutions. And then I want to introduce our two other panelists, Denise at Zapier and Ian at Writer.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
We can dive in a little later about what Ian and Denise is doing with their programs. But first, I have a few questions for you, John, because we've been on the road for the past year doing industry dinners in different cities for 10 of them now. And so I want to know specifically for community driven and being value added, what have you experienced at our dinners that is valuable to you and to the attendees?
I think we're up to 11 dinners now.
Oh, yes, that's right. It's so many. I've lost count. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been. So for me, the biggest thing, the biggest sort of opportunity is that so many of the folks in our industry, they just don't really have a peer within their own company. And a lot of the people that we have at our dinners, they're VPs, they're heads of events, they're director, senior director level. And again, at these organizations, there's probably only one person at that tier. So for them to really have somebody to bounce ideas off of, it's going to have to be external. So there's just this like sense of camaraderie that comes with putting people in the room together and letting them, on one hand, vent, but another share ideas, and it just creates such a good and dynamic conversation.
I know, it's kind of like group therapy. One of my favorite moments at the dinners is when horror stories are shared and everyone goes, oh no, like I can't believe that happened to you, or like moments where, oh my God, that happened to me too. And there's shared frustrations, but also people chiming in and saying, oh, here's my solutions to that, right? And so I think it's really important, like the camaraderie, like you said. Have you found value in it, John, as a service provider or just as a business in general?
Yeah. So for us, there's a couple of reasons that we partner with you and that we host these events, and not just partner with you, but we bring in two other technology companies as well to co-partner with. And the reason we do that is, for one, it helps us bring more people into the room in each city. But the value that we really get out of it is, it's not so much just like marketing us. As you know, we don't pitch in these dinners. We don't really even say anything more than, hey, I'm John with Excel Events, we're an event management platform. And that's kind of it. Where we really get a lot of value, though, is hearing those stories, hearing those pain points, and then using that both in our marketing material. So really understanding like what resonates, but also what can we do as a software company to alleviate some of those pain points. So it's really invaluable in that sense. Denise, customer of ours on our customer advisory board, there's a different dynamic in the customer advisory board group, because everybody there is thinking from the perspective of our product. What happens in these dinners is that nobody's thinking about anything from the perspective of a product. They're thinking about their day-to-day workload and the problems that are there. And that's what we just, we love to hear.
Yeah, so there's two sides to these community events, right? There's the user and prospect side, the perspective of, I'm attending, I'm going to get value from that, I'm going to stay, I'm going to come back, and I'm going to invite other people. There's also, if you're an event marketer that's listening in right now, there's some business opportunities that you can have with, creating such events. And we're going to dive into that with Denise, how she's creating events for, to really drive the pipeline. So John, from a business perspective, if you were to redirect your marketing dollars away from like these large proprietary conferences, right, and into smaller programs, what's one way that you have measured success to make sure that you can determine the ROI?
Yeah, I wish I could answer it with just one way. There's kind of three elements. There's influenced revenue, so that could be influencing retention, influencing expansion, or getting a deal over the finish line by being able to put somebody in the room. And usually each of the partners will have like 1 to 3 customers that are in the room at that dinner, and they ultimately become advocates for everybody else. So there's that side of things. Then there's the people that we're meeting for the first time, either because we invited them or one of the other partners does, and that can turn into pipeline. And then the third category is that on a sales side, sort of from like a cold outreach perspective, if we're just out there like dropping cold emails into people's inboxes, that doesn't really add any value. But when we reach out to people, and again, this is a hyper-targeted list of items, there are folks that maybe became aware of our dinners already from the social media content we create, or maybe they haven't, but it gives us a way to reach out and basically have an offer, add value, invite them to this community without pitching them or making an ask. And we've found that for every dinner, we'll end up with like 5 to 10 people that we end up getting a meeting booked with that aren't even able to attend the dinner.
Right. That's so interesting because there's also social media buzz too surrounding it. So I want to pivot to Ian Gomez. He is the head of field marketing and events at Writer.ai. I'm actually at his event right now in London. He's doing an AI leadership forum, but Ian, you do a lot of dinners too, right? Like you do like industry dinners where you have like Michelin chefs. Like yesterday you had a Michelin Queen chef or something like that. I want to, just tell us what you're doing to drive community with your events.
Absolutely. So thank you for having me, Hong and John. We are in London today. I stepped away quickly from our AI Leaders Forum, and it's our second time here, but we do a lot of dinners. So yesterday evening, we hosted a very intimate dinner with our executives and team at a Michelin star restaurant. It's actually a green Michelin star restaurant, so everything is sustainable and green. So that was really fun for us. But it is one big way we've learned to drive and accelerate pipeline, but also find that people love dining and eating out with their peers. And that's really shown as a great go-to-market tactic for us, especially as a startup. Now that we've exploded, we've expanded it globally. So we've taken the same playbook in London, in New York, San Francisco, and now mimicking it in our tier 2 cities as well.
Yeah, I love that you're taking it globally, regionally. Now, what is the benefit of tapping into the local region and instead of doing like a large proprietary conference, would you say?
I'd say we can do more. It's much more scalable to do these intimate dinners because our AI Leaders Forum is a huge production. We're at the Nobu Hotel. I mean, there's branding, there's soft seating, there's all the things, right? And that takes a lot of resources, both from a human element as well as a budgetary element. These dinners you can kind of control based on the restaurant, the location, how many people you invite. So it's a much more scalable program versus a user conference per se.
Yeah. So how do you design these experiences, Ian, to make it truly community driven, truly resonating with the audience and letting them dictate the content?
Absolutely. So one of the tactics that we do is it's really the invite list. It's well curated. It's invite only. You will not find it on our websites. We don't promote it externally. It is all validated by the team to ensure that the content and the audience are all at the same level, maybe different parts of their AI journey. But I think that's one way we curate these experiences to ensure that the folks are meeting their peers, nobody's being sold to, and it's really focused on building those relationships and keeping those engaging conversations going over these amazing meals at these restaurants.
So Ian, I have a question from the audience. David is asking, how do you leverage soft power with assigned seating?
Ooh, assigned seating. Yeah, for us, it's strategic. So, we have regional leaders that want to meet with our prospects and customers, but we also put a lot of our customers in the dinner. So strategically, we'll put our customers with maybe a deal that's about to close, or maybe that's somebody's a little wary about Writer. We'll put them with a very happy customer, or maybe it's our CEO that's never met that champion yet. So it gives them an opportunity to network and connect with them, especially if they're kind of later in the sales cycle, where our CEO gets to sit and meet with them and understand their use case and their problems.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ian. So Denise, I got really excited talking to you yesterday. Everyone, Denise is a head of marketing of events and marketing at Zapier. Denise, if you could share with us what you're doing to drive community events, that would be great.
Yeah, I think we're in an interesting position because we have gone from the really large scale user conference model to this model now this year where we're dipping into these dinners, the field marketing, and exploring some of these advocacy focused events. So similar to you, Ian, we are starting to get into the dinners. Probably have a lot that I would love to pick your brain on later as we get into those. But something different that we're going to be trying to do this year is move towards an attendee-led model with our top advocates. And Hung, something that you said earlier really resonated with me from the dinners that you all hosted, which was this ability to capture an understanding of your prospects, your customers, the folks that fall within your ICP. And that's what we're really looking to get out of these high touch motions for our advocates. And so within these events, our goal is to fly these folks to, a amazing location for a few days, get them connecting with each other, really understanding what's burning within their industry for them as a user of our product. And then not only to nurture that community of users that we have, but learn from them and have that content and that understanding extend beyond those physical events to the broader customer base and our prospect base.
Yeah. If you think about it, the cost, same thing with you, Ian, right? The cost of creating an executive experience, maybe like 100,000 for 20 people, maybe even less. But the result of that, of closing these multi-million-dollar deals year over year, or even half of that, right? It's a stronger return on investment. So I think it's also different goals, right? Maybe the larger ones are like the brand awareness, expanding the reach, and then the smaller one is really for conversion. So my question for you, for both of you and Ian, is like, how do you truly drive the desire to come? So let's say it's really targeted, right? It's not like you're promoting it online. You have to really invite people. So what is that pull that get people to say, oh, yeah, I'm really interested, and they sign up? Because there's really no sticky point for them. It's free, right? So they're not buying into it, or maybe they are, but like my point is like, are you actually driving the actual registration and showing up of these events?
Denise, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, I can take a stab. I think something that Ian said especially stood out to me as a key tactic, and that's the invite list, and using that to your advantage when you're inviting folks. It is just as important who's on that list as who's not on that list, and using that as a hook to get folks in attendance. I think especially for these higher touch motions as well, it's really important that the outreach be personalized. You can't just send a blanket promotional email that goes out to everybody. It needs to be, let's say you're hosting a dinner for a RevOps professional, have somebody who sits in a RevOps role within your company send that email and really speak to that customer.
That's good. So it's kind of like peer-to-peer invitation. How about you, Ian? How do you get people to come?
Same as Denise, but really handwritten one-to-one notes. Sometimes from, like typed, but not handwritten. Very personalized notes. Also, we've seen that kind of name dropping companies that went last time. If you haven't really done before, a sizzle speaker. If we have a co-host, that's also worked well for us. And then the kind of white glove service. So, offering an Uber or other things to facilitate for them to come, kind of that bait. Obviously, like the venue and timing and things like that are key, but really going above and beyond and thinking outside the box to ensure that not only they register, but they also come. I think those are two different things, right?
Okay. So Denise, you said it's about who's in the room, right? As well as who's not in the room. But let's just focus on who's in the room. How do you make sure that, you're inviting the right people and leveraging either in different strategies that you're tapping into to bring in the...
Yeah, on my side, I think that comes to tight alignment to your core customer, right? So understanding who your customer is, setting guardrails around leveling. I know John mentioned primarily folks that are attending these dinners that you'll host are director level plus, right? I think it's really important to make sure that you have folks from like the same arena within that room. And then, Ian, I think you also brought up the point of speaking with folks internally within the company. It doesn't live in isolation. You're talking to your customer success teams, you're talking to your sales teams. You're really making sure that the folks who are face to face with your customers and prospects can provide input on that as well.
Yeah, because I know with John and we partner with two other tech vendors, we don't own the guest list exclusively. Like I think we partner with each other and our own network to invite. Do you guys do any partnerships of that kind and when it comes to invitations? Ian?
We have. We've had some opportunities to partner with our tech partners to help drive attendance and registration.
Oh, that's good.
And then on top of what Denise said is that kind of cross-functional departmental collaboration is, working with sales, success, EPD, executives, and then prioritizing those invites by opportunity close date. That's another little tactic that we do. If it's a high priority deal or something where we need to close this deal this quarter or accelerate this deal into this quarter, is how we prioritize executives of who should attend and how high touch.
Who should be there?
Yeah.
No, that's good. John, I know that your list is extremely extensive. Every time we invite people, it's like 100, 200 names. How do you get those names and how do you decide who you invite for these industry dinners?
I think just due to the nature of our product, we have a wider ICP, but again, it's all about the seniority because the conversation is going to really come down to sort of the lowest common denominator. And we don't want that to happen. So although the list may be long, every one of those people is equally as qualified to be in the room.
Yeah.
And I'll add one of the other things, just because of the frequency of the events, is doing the retrospective after and evaluating, okay, did we have the right ICP in the room? And what are the questions that we're asking? Because I know, the conversation is very, very facilitated with the dinners that we do. And the questions that are the prompts to get people talking, and every single person in the room at our dinners is speaking at some point. Making sure that what we're asking of them is going to be interesting to everybody else in the room, but also interesting to all of our partners is, it just takes tuning.
Yeah, so that leads me to my next question about having it be attendee led. And Denise, you spoke a lot about that. So what are your strategies on ensuring that your content is truly attendee led?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that can really create an experience that encourages folks to be active versus passive. And I think some of it comes from just creating moments around shared experience. First, making sure that attendee list is, I think that's the key to maybe unlocking step one. But then once you get folks into the actual room, like the one-to-many presentation, that can be done virtually. So whenever we're trying to bring people in person, the more we can let the attendees do the talking, the better off we are. And I think a lot of it comes back to understanding your attendees, whether that's just understanding the ICP as a whole or going as far as like an intake survey. So, as I think about something like the unconference model, a really great question that, I've borrowed from that heavily is asking your folks before coming to an event, if you could ask a group of experts, this group of experts in XYZ field, what would that one thing be? And I think it forces people to really think about the outcome that they want from getting together with their peers. Not only can that be something you can use as a tool to ask the right questions and get people talking, but I think it's also something that sets an intention for your attendees and why they're coming to this event, who they want to meet with, and what they want to gain from it. And I think some beautiful serendipity has come out of just asking those things up front and then kind of encouraging folks to have those conversations, both within the tailored, let's say panel style or like conversation style piece, but then also in that organic networking that happens after the event.
That's really cool. Ian, how do you get people to contribute at these dinners or, actually truly drive the conversations instead of just one of your speaker?
Yeah, so similar to the dinner that you hosted in San Francisco with John, it's similar. Everybody speaks. you do the introduction, and we have a prompt. And we go around the room, they stand up, they answer that prompt, and it kind of continues the discussion over the courses. So obviously these Michelin star restaurants have courses, so it's kind of coursed out, and the next question is asked. So it kind of flows nicely. And then kind of similar to Denise is this intake survey. So a very quick, like 30-second, like, hey, here are 3 topics, and allow them to maybe, you know, put one input of what they want to talk about. And so we have that as data to use as what prompts we would use for the dinner.
I love that. Okay, most important question, I think, for the very few 5 minutes we have left here. And then we go to Q&A. But if you guys have any questions, please plug it into the chat. I'm going to ask them live. But the most important thing for me is if you're willing to share, is your conversion rate, right? So what is the percentage, I think, you know, I guess percentage of the spend would you say that you were able to convert or bring back into the business? Yeah. John, I'm happy to hear your numbers too, because we've done 11 dinners, so I want to know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share loose percentages. Over the 11 dinners, because we have 3 to 4 partners for every dinner, our cost is quite low.
Very
which
low,
is great.
that's right.
So for us, one deal can 3x what we've spent on 10 dinners.
Yeah.
So for us, it's been a very positive experience. And that's only for a dinner sourced revenue. But we know that this has been, I think we looked at these numbers the other day. Over those 11 dinners, there's like 240 actual attendees. The outreach is probably 5 times that, at least for us. So there's a lot of impressions that go beyond just the people that were in the room.
Yeah, and it takes, it doesn't take a few months. It takes like at least sometimes 6 months to a year to be able to convert.
Oh yeah. I mean, in our case, a lot of our customers are in multi-year contracts. So it's building that relationship, it's building trust, credibility, putting a face behind it, and making sure that they have confidence in us to be able to support them. And yeah, that does not happen overnight.
Right. How about you, Ian?
I can't share numbers, but anecdotally, the sales team has said if a prospect comes to a dinner, they become a customer. And our sales cycle, we are focused on the Fortune 500 enterprises that move very slow. So we close one, it pays for the entire program for the year. So we already closed a lot. But how we measure is more on the influenced revenue versus pipeline generated, because it's more of a middle bottom funnel program, just because the amount of is needed to pull off, and it's in the millions in each quarter. So anecdotally, we get customers out of them. Pipeline wise, influence millions each quarter.
Yeah. I love how the spend is so low compared to a larger conference too, and the yield is a lot higher. How about you, Denise? What's your
interesting that you're focused on bottom of funnel. For us, it's full funnel.
Oh, how come you're focusing on bottom of the funnel then, Ian?
We find it accelerates the deal to close that quarter.
Interesting. Oh, that quarter. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. How about you, Denise? What's your ROI been like, or even in previous efforts as well?
Yeah, I was going to say, so we're actually just standing up our field marketing efforts this year. So if I could share those numbers, I think we're still in the early phases. We're looking at a 6 to 12 month cycle, similar to Ian of influenced pipeline. So previous events where I've done this, or previous companies, we've at least 2x'd what we spent in it. That's kind of been the baseline. Again, I think if you're really crisp on what your goals are coming in and what side of the business this is going to serve, these can be just such a powerful tool for getting that high touch experience with your prospects and customers. But more to come. We'll let you know at the end of the year.
I would definitely be following up with you to see what your metrics are. I do have a question that came in from Nikki. What tools are you utilizing to track attribution, and what project management tools do you all use? So John, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so fortunately on the project management side, you're doing most of the work when it comes to the organization of the dinner. So we're off the hook on that side. From an attribution perspective, we do the attribution in HubSpot. Because these are all invite-based dinners, this is coming from the registration platform guy, but we're not actually asking people to register. So we're doing all of our attribution tracking right within our CRM.
Nice. Nice. Are you okay? Question though for you: is sales responsible for filling these events, or is marketing, John?
Sales is,
For you,
because it's
sales.
personal
Okay.
outreach. We're not doing like blasts. We might do a follow-up after the fact with some of our learnings, but we are not doing mass outreach to invite people to the dinners. It's all
Yeah.
personalized.
So Nikki, for these type of programs, because they're smaller, I would agree that you would probably want to leverage your sales team to do it. It's more tailored, more customized. And okay, so how do you track attribution? And
let me jump in. One caveat to that. If your SDR team falls under marketing and not under sales, then yes, it would be under marketing.
Gotcha. Okay, go ahead, Ian.
So we use Asana for project management, and then Salesforce and Omni for attribution.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Salesforce Omni for attribution. And then is sales filling the event, or is marketing filling the event?
Yeah, it's a great question. For tier ones, it's sales. As we go into newer markets, it's kind of a blend. We look kind of ancillary events as well. So if we go to a larger conference, it's both efforts, sales and marketing.
Gotcha. Okay, Denise, how about you?
Yeah, we're similarly using Asana for project management. And then when it comes to the data analysis attribution side, we use Looker. We're really lucky to have a data science team.
Nice.
So everything comes in from, different sources, and we work with our team to get that into Looker. As for the question about who fills the seats, so what's interesting actually is the events, the dinners that we've planned so far this year are in partnership with communities that our ICP is within. So the community is actually going to be responsible for helping fill some of the seats of folks within our book of business and our ICP. And then from their marketing, events marketing, demand gen, and sales will partner on filling the remaining seats. So
I love that.
Little bit different approach.
I love that. Okay, so Nikki, I'm so sorry you don't have an SDR team. My heart goes out to you. And then Tara Henderson said, assuming there's no cost to the guests, do you see late cancellations or no-shows? For us, we've gotten really lucky, huh, John? There's been very little no-shows. I would say like
snowstorms out of the equation, then yes.
Yeah, I mean, all the people that we've invited have showed up simply because it's a personal invite. I also send out invitations. We also send out emails like the day before, the day of, reminding them to come and then thanking them for coming. So we've not had a lot of cancellations. But Ian and Denise, given that your programs may or may not be, I think Ian, yours is not ticketed. What is like the attrition numbers that you've experienced?
Very, very low. Same, because they're personal invites and they're personal relationships. So it's like a friend asking a friend to come, and you're not going to think of your friend. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, in newer markets, it's different, right? If we're there for the first time, we expect a certain amount of attrition, but we ask them the night before, like, hey, we're full. Can you let us know if you're going to, make it, because we have a wait list, and then we'll let people up. It's a way to kind of combat the attrition with like somebody really wanting to come, and then bumping off that person off the wait list and then filling the room.
Yeah. Also, Tara, the one thing that Writer.ai also do is that they do an application. So if you really want to come, you actually take the step of applying and proving that you want to be there. Yeah. How about you, Denise? What's the attrition that you've experienced, even your virtual programs as well?
Yeah, I was going to say, so we're the dinners are still to be executed this year for my current role, but at previous roles, Ian, similarly, these high touch motions, we saw a pretty low drop off. Now, as I look at like our virtual conference, for example, which is a free user event, completely different scenario, there we do see a really high attrition. A lot of that's just attributed to the fact that, our user base is comprised of paying free customers, everything in between, and the user base that actually attends our event matches that. So we do see a lot more drop off there.
Yeah, I do have a question from Stephanie of how we're targeting these areas. Like, I think she's asking, how are we selecting the cities? Ian, how are you selecting your cities? Because I know you added another city in Chicago. What is the factor of selecting them?
Propensity of contacts and customers and prospects through data. So we had our data team analyze where
data,
heat mapping where people are in our database and customer base, and then we kind of target that at the time of the year, and then determine our kind of sequence of events based on that.
Yeah, John, how have we selected our cities?
Very similar, but then often also using LinkedIn quite a bit to just get an understanding of how many people are in our ICP in a given city.
And then Nikki, sorry, I want to answer. It's not communities. It's not community events. It's completely separate advocacy and creator groups for Denise's program. I hope that answers it. I think that's all I have. I ran out of time, you guys. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. That was an awesome panel. We really appreciate your time.